Thank you and good afternoon. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports Report. Tonight in football, the Raiders were going on to face a rough task on the road to play one of the top of the team in the AFC West, the Denver Broncos. They're having their best season in 10 years so far. The Broncos have had some close calls, but this might not be the close one. The Broncos defense is good, missing one of their best players in Patrick Surtain, though. My score is 35-20. Here's more on the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos are favored by 8.5 to 9. Obviously, I think they're going to be bigger, as I picked them by 15. Game is on Prime Video. The Broncos come in at 7-2. The Raiders are contrasted by their loss in the recent games with 2-6, losing by 2, with the offense struggling significantly. Matchup highlights defense stronger units led so far by the season by ranking very high and limiting scoring. Also, most pressures. Las Vegas offense been very weak, low total of scoring efficiency. For the Raiders, have the chance of receiver crops, including targets around Geno Smith, will need to make plays in the secondary. On the Broncos side, the players like Bo Nix, he's got some legs on him. Do I think the Broncos are having a hell of a season? They're an underrated team in the AFC. I would have said the Colts, but they lost to the Steelers as one of the most underrated teams in the AFC. But now they lost to the Steelers. The Colts doesn't have me ranked with them. Kickoff is tonight at 7:15 on Amazon Prime. Denver hosts Oakland, with the Broncos have favored by 8.5 to 9. In mental health, what is schizoaffective disorder? Schizoaffective disorder is a characteristic mental health condition combining schizophrenia and hallucinations and a bipolar part, likely depression or mania. Now, more on this. We've talked about this for a couple of weeks now, but this week we're landing on what helps you can get for schizophrenia, or schizoaffective disorder, or schizophrenia, any mental health disorder, really. What is a social worker? I will explain that in here. It's somebody that takes care of their Social Security and housing and, if needed, employment. Some experience end of schooling. School was really hard for me and made my learning disabilities harder. And when I just got diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, it made it just that much harder. Now we're going to talk about ideas of treatment. After we talk about employment is important and volunteering is important. We talked about that a couple weeks ago on volunteering. Here's that link, and here is on that, and you'll see the schizoaffective disorder. If you just type in schizoaffective, all of my videos will pull up about schizoaffective, including over the last couple of years. If you have not seen them, just click on the search bar on my YouTube page. Production, learning disability is another few steps for short video words. Understand about a learning disability, which is important to understand. Note that keep notes on what the voices are saying, or what medications interact with you and how they work best, and how they have side effects, and what medications work. Keep those for your psychiatrist. Also keep notes for your therapist to have topics to discuss. Psychotherapy is on learning about your disability is very important for whatever disability you have, which is important to understand and note what the voices are telling you to do. Also, what the decision making, good or bad. Let your therapist know, and what risk factors you are taking that you maybe should not be taking. That is more on this. One thing I want to mention is online dating is very hard to navigate nowadays. Medication was a serious side effect. Important antidepressants for me doesn't work. So suicidal thoughts and anger and curling of hands is what doesn't work for me. But if you are schizoaffective, in most circumstances they recommend trying antidepressants first before TMS. TMS helps you with depression if you failed 3 or more antidepressants. It works for about 6 months to 2 years. It is a 6-week or more program, about 36 sessions. Success rate of it is 60%. The best therapy I've ever had. If you want to call it medication, it is a form of medication, but it doesn't have the side effects, nor is it something you have to have a shot or take orally. Most insurances do cover that. ChatGPT recognizes a magnetic stimulation. TMS is a non-invasive procedure using magnetic pulses and stimulates specific area of your brain involved in mood regulation. It's mainly used to treat depression, especially when medication does not work. During this time, transmedical and electromagnetic coils is placed near your scalp, sending a brief magnetic pulse to activate the nerve cells. It happens about every 20 seconds. Sessions usually last about 20 to 40 minutes. Mine lasted about 20. It's important, for example, my doctor and therapist work together. Hopefully you'll learn the skills to be recover. Never give up hope. It is one of the important principles in NAMI, and it is a very good one and many people's favorite. Hopefully getting back to your life and getting back on track also helps. Using resources is also help. Reaching out to people that you trust is also important. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam's Sports Report and Sam's Mental Health Day on Schizoaffective Disorder. Here's more on that video. I tried to tailor it by this video.
So the impact could be anything from mild to very severe. All right. And in fact, indeed, when we're talking about treatment, we would also often look at complete remission or partial remission, or in fact, sometimes you get conditions that are treatment resistant and they're not responding. In terms of the impact, potential impact on your life, it will be mostly around your function, your job, school, relationships, family. Overall, your quality of life across all spheres could be significantly impacted. So again, that's where the social work aspect comes in. So a lot of work we do would require social workers working with us, assessing those other aspects, the psychosocial aspects of it. It would impact how you relate to people. It would impact how you cope. It would impact how your executive skills, whether you're able to go through with your schooling, and that's what sometimes would drive people to drop out of school, sometimes tertiary education, all of that. So the impact and the disability that comes from mental illness is quite severe, without a doubt. So the treatment options will be holistic. First thing we want to do is a proper assessment. Family is important. Employment is important. Housing would be incredibly important. Sometimes there are psychological impacts that follow from chronic mental illnesses like that. So they may need counseling supports. They do need a lot of psychoeducation even from the get-go. I would like to educate you about your illness, about risk factors, about early relapse signs, about medications, about side effect profiles, about the need for us to work together. I need to build a therapeutic alliance that would support you and facilitate your recovery in the best possible way. So that's a huge approach that we want to really put online. Then, of course, the approach usually again has to be multidisciplinary. There's a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist is really there for mainly the assessments, the medications and all that. He may act as the team lead, but he's not by any means the sole driver of your care. There's a social worker. Social work involves both social work supports, housing, disability allowances, employment, all of that sort of thing. But some of them would also alongside be supporting in terms of the psychoeducation, in terms of even basic coping strategies that would get you from day to day. So social work role is important. Some teams are resourced enough and would have a psychologist associated with them. Occupational therapy is really, really critical. Again, if you're talking about rehabilitation, getting back on your feet, getting appropriate supports in re-entering the job market and things like that. And frankly, it doesn't just have to be that. Even just getting out of bed, behavioral activation, right? All of that you could do greatly with occupational therapist support. So generally, we like to look at mental health as a holistic practice. It requires a multidisciplinary team. Everybody's on board, everybody's participating, and all working, sort of harnessing individual strengths to improve the chances of recovery for that client. I'm glad we actually get a chance to speak about that, because it's meaningful for families, it's meaningful for individuals who are experiencing this to know there's hope, there's treatment. It's not always perfect. Treatments, particularly pharmacotherapy, can come with its side effects, it can come with its challenges, but beyond any doubt, it leads to appropriate wellness, it leads to recovery, it leads to rehabilitation, and people can get a life back. So it's really critical that we keep hold of that. It can be difficult for families to come to terms with it. It's even more difficult for the clients who are experiencing this. Oftentimes stigma is an experience, there's no question about it. The good news though is that's improving. There's better awareness out there, and I would encourage family members, friends, support groups to work with their loved ones and support them in reaching out for appropriate help.